Hey there, Southern Indiana Sawmill YouTube watchers. I'm doing something a little different today, and that's on my honey-do list. And so, believe it or not, you all are going to think that I'm like some manly man with all of my sawmilling and stuff like that. You hear the kids yelling in the background, of course, playing. But I've never tilled a garden before.
I have.
And so, she grew up more in the country than I did. I grew up a suburb kid. And then have learned how to do everything I do through basically experience and failing lots. So I'm going to try to till a garden today. And honey, what are we going to plant in this garden this year?
We are planting lots of tomatoes, some green beans. We're going to try some Chinese long beans, which I've never done before. Peppers, lots of herbs, all kinds of stuff.
So hopefully we get a good yield this year and we can eat out of this garden. What's the size of our garden about? It's about a 20 by 50 garden, something like that. Not very big, bigger than some, definitely not as big as others. But we have quite a bit of extra land here. So if in the future we want to expand the garden, we'll be able to do that. And part of what we want to do, like a lot of other channels you've probably seen, is just become a little bit more self-sufficient around the house. If this virus stuff has proven anything over the last couple weeks, it's that the more independent we can be, probably the better off we're going to be. Yep. So we're going to try to find ways in the next year, hopefully to get a little bit more independent as far as that goes. We live in the country, so we're maybe a little bit more independent than some already, but I think that we can take a few more steps in doing that. So you're going to see us doing that over the course of the next year at least on our channel. But right now, we want to till this garden. I'm going to show you the piece of equipment we're going to use, and I'll tell you why it's special to us. Okay, so here's why this particular tiller is kind of special to us. I call it the father-in-law special. So my father-in-law used this tiller for, my wife's standing back here, how many years?
I don't know for sure, a lot.
A lot of years. It's an MTD, it's a 5 horsepower tiller. Not a very big thing, but it's probably good for our size of garden. Now you all know that I'm looking to get a tractor, and so maybe in the future, if we get a little bigger garden, we can have a tiller on that. I don't know, but this is how we're doing it for now. So let's get to work, and hopefully I can get this thing started, and then we'll get it done. All right, well, I did the first three rows, 3 passes, 3 rows, and you can tell by the straightness or lack thereof of my lines that I am a seasoned beginner. So dear, how am I doing so far?
Looks good so far.
All right. Happy wife, happy life, that's what they say. Anyhow, I think we got to go through this like twice, right? You want me to do it twice?
Usually you go up and down one way and then you switch directions and go up and down the other way to catch what you didn't get in the middle.
So there you have it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what she tells me to do. And let's keep going. And we're going to get the rest of this tilled up, and then we'll show you the results when we're all done. So one of the things that we have is some raspberries. These have been growing here for a couple of years now, and we're trying to get them going. We have a very tiny strawberry patch in the back, and one of the cool things that we have naturally occurring on our property is something called the pawpaw tree, which is they call it the mango of Indiana or something like that.
Indiana banana.
The Indiana banana. So we'll show you that another time, but we make pawpaw butter, and people come all over when we advertise for that stuff. So my wife is here. She's going to show you some things that we have started that we're going to put in the garden here. So dear, why don't you show us?
Oh, watch out, Tucker. So right now it's just the beginning of April, so it's a little early to get things like tomatoes and green beans and things in the garden. But I do have some things that we've started about a month ago in these little mini greenhouses. Now if you want to start things early and not have to worry about it at all, I highly recommend doing this. All you do is take a juice, this is a juice container, you can do it with milk jugs. Cut them in half so that you can flip open the top. This one's all taped back together. Fill it up with some dirt, poke some holes in the bottom for drainage, and plant your seeds in this container. This one's being stubborn.
If we can get it open.
If we can get it open, I'll show you how to cut it. So you cut it about 3/4 of the way around, just so you can tip open, and then fill it up with dirt. This one's got holes in the bottom so that when it rains, it drains and doesn't flood your seeds out.
And what's growing in that one?
This one's got broccoli in it. I've got some cabbage. These ones are cold crops, so you can put them in the ground when it's above, when you're even have some frost left in the weather. So these ones are actually going to go in the garden this week, and we'll wait for another about month or so. About the first week of May, we can start putting in tomatoes here in our zone. You may be able to do it earlier if you're farther south. If you're up towards the northern part of the country, you probably have to wait until the middle of May. So it just depends on where your zone is. I'm really excited to put some stuff in the ground. I've been itching all spring. So this is our project for later this week. The kids are excited to help too. So hope that gives you an idea of something you can do in your garden too.
So what did I learn from my tilling experience today? It's not as hard as I thought it would be. I'm glad that we live in the days of mechanical advantage, and I'm glad that we have engines on things that I can do this. When I do get my tractor, I still may opt for a tiller, and I know that my wife shakes her head at me when I say that for a garden this size. But I always like doing things as easy as I can, smarter, not harder. What else did I learn from tilling this garden today? Well, this isn't our first garden we've had. We've been doing this for a couple years. And especially during this virus and this time of everything that's going on, it just reminds me God is still faithful. His faithfulness is shown in the springtime when we see new life. And it's shown when we are growing crops and we're seeing things come to life and be new. And so we see God is still faithful and He's still working. We have to remember God's still sovereign, still on His throne. And so for us and our values, how we want to raise our kids, that's one of the things that we're always going to teach our kids. And it's one of the reasons, like I said in the beginning, that we do want to be independent. And so we'll keep up with you on this garden. We'll show you some of the things that we continue to plant as the weeks go by. And then in a couple months, we're going to see the fruit, literally, of our crops. And you'll get to see if our garden does well or not this year. We've been treating the soil a little bit. Indiana is like pure clay. And so we've been mixing in like sawdust shavings and some cow pies from the back pasture here, which is our neighbor's cow pies, but I'm sure he doesn't mind us having some of those. And some other things, ashes and some of the leftover vegetable scraps and whatnot. But we'll see how that goes. And as always, if any of you have any tips, if you have any comments on what could help us be more successful gardeners, we'd love to hear that. I know that that is like a huge topic, and there's no shortage of information. But what do you think would be good stuff to plant in our little garden? What do you think are some ways we could treat the soil that would make it even better in the years to come? Well guys, that's all I got for you today. My wife went inside. She's getting supper ready for everybody. Go and get some nourishment after this little bit of work that we've done today. And as always, if this is your first time watching, please go ahead and subscribe. Please hit the like button and please hit that bell to get the notifications for the videos that are going to come out. Tucker, we'd love to have you join our little community here and watch our progress as we continue to journey this life together. Take care, guys. See ya.